The YouTube channel, The Financial Diet, has said there are 7 things not to do in 2020. Do you want to know the 5 more that we found? Then stick till the end to this video. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How you doing today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. Today, I want to have a conversation with you about what our friends at the Financial Diet YouTube channel said recently. They uploaded a video entitled 7 Things Not to Do in 2020 Under Any Circumstances. This is a brilliant video. You got to watch it. And we recommend that you go and watch the full length of it in case you haven't already. Our team watched the video several times and we liked it, but we thought something was missing. Here are the 7 things the Financial Diet YouTube channel talked about. Number 1, avoid your finances. Panic move. Don't do any panic move. Compromise your comfort zone. Join an MLM, multi-level marketing. Compare this to a normal year. Sell off a bunch of stock. Obsess over what happens next. Those are the 7 things that they believe you shouldn't do this year. We felt that this list that I just gave you was contextually incomplete, so we decided to add our 2 cents to the discussion. Here are 5 more things we think you should not do in 2020 under any circumstances. Number 1, postpone your financial education. It's very important. Financial literacy is important, folks, especially when it comes to budgeting. Budgeting is important because even as the national economy was enjoying one of its longest ever periods of growth in 2018 or 2019 or 2020 in the last few years, a survey by Bankrate showed that nearly 2/3 of Americans were limiting their spending each month. They're not monitoring things, and with economic fortunes changing rapidly, that number is only likely to grow. So stagnant incomes, growing debt burdens, and rising housing and medical costs are among the reasons so Americans have looked to tighten their financial belts in recent years, especially since we just had the COVID-19 from this year, from March all the way to now in October when this show was recorded. We still have a tightening of the belt. Regardless of what the GDP or employment figures say, it's all about expectations. So you need to avoid postponing your financial education. So all the things I'm giving you today, those are things that you should not do. You should not do in 2020. So let me give you a few reasons why you want to create a household budget regardless of your financial circumstances. It is a simple and effective way of managing or avoiding debt. It will help you achieve short-term and long-term goals. So if you have short-term or long-term goals, you can use a budget to actually follow through. You can use a budget to prepare you for a rainy day. It's also called an emergency fund, by the way. And a budget encourages you to become invested in your own finances. So simply put, the process of budgeting instills you with the discipline and motivation to manage your finances more efficiently and responsibly. So research has shown, for example, that those who adhere to a budget are more likely to reach their financial goals, in part because they become emotionally invested in the process. So what I'm trying to say here is, folks, is that to get financial education, to become financially literate, you have to understand the budgeting process. Budgeting is very important. Now, budgeting is very important because you have to know where your money is coming from and where your money is going. Let's talk a little bit about the steps in the monthly budgeting process. How do you actually go from point A to point B when it comes to budgeting? There is no one universal method or tool for budgeting. All right? So don't look for any quick solution here. You have gazillions of apps, software programs, you have spreadsheets, templates, you have a lot of stuff out there. Some people even have something called paper budget. So it is very easy. Whatever solution you choose, whether you want to go online, you want to go automated, or you want to have your own envelope budgeting strategy, it doesn't matter. As long as it works, that's fine. So the first thing you want to do is you want to gather financial statements. So this is as basic as collecting every document that reflects your monthly income and expenses. I'm talking here about the bank, your bank, credit card and investment accounts, paycheck stubs, benefit statements, and electronic payments. So the strength of your budget will be determined by how accurate it is. So you want to look at the last 3 months of credit card and or debit card charges rather, to make sure you are capturing all of the categories where you typically spend money. So after gathering your financial statements, you need to calculate monthly income. It's not as complicated. You have to look at the frequency of your pay cycle. Are you paid once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month? So you want to basically take in one area. So if you're paid once a week, that means that you have to multiply by 4 to have your take home monthly income. If you're paid bi-weekly, it has to be, if you're paid bi-weekly, that means you have to multiply by 2 to find the monthly income. If you're paid monthly, then it's very easy, right? So that's for the income category. Then you have to move to the expenses category. Same thing. You need to include everything. You have to have everything that you spend money on, from groceries to electricity to rent to mortgage payments to travel. Well, you're not traveling every day, but you're probably every month rather, but you're probably spending money on transportation, whether it is your car payments, all this kind of stuff. You need to have it on a piece of paper and write it down. One thing I want to also say is that when it comes to income is not just money you're getting from an employer. Income also encompasses things like Social Security, disability, pension, child support, regular interest or dividend earnings, and alimony. So any money that you regularly receive can be considered income for your monthly budget. So after listing your income sources and your expense sources, you need to categorize expenses as fixed or variable, right? So folks, I'm still talking to you about financial literacy, and I'm explaining to you why you should not postpone your financial education in 2020. So let's talk about categorizing expenses as fixed or variables. So there are some expenses that are fixed, some are variable. For example, what are fixed expenses? You have mortgage or rent, car payment, car insurance, health insurance, utility bills, internet, TV, and cell phone service. Those are fixed expenses. And then you have the variable expenses. You have travel, dining, gifts, and entertainment. Now, variable expenses are more what I call discretionary expenses. Those are costs that you don't plan. They just happen, or you plan them and they change, they fluctuate from month to month. So you need to add up income sources and expense columns. So you have one column for income and one column for expenses, and then and that will give you the net. So if you have a positive amount, that means you have extra cash that you can save. You can divert the cash into a rainy day cash account, an emergency fund, or you can invest it. But if you have a negative, then we have a problem, because that means that you are living beyond your means and you're actually closing the gap. You're actually closing the deficit with credit card debt or with other types of debt, and that's not a good thing. One thing you have to do is, once you have the budget, a budget is a living thing. It's a living table. It's a living chart. You want to evaluate results and you want to adjust accordingly. That means that if you realize that you're spending money too much, you're spending too much money in a category, you can reduce that category and shift the cash into another category that's more interesting for you, that's more productive, right? We all have the reckless spendings that sometimes we all Americans have felt guilty of at some point, reckless spending, and that's something you can really cut, even including impulsive spending. So you have to evaluate results periodically. You can do this every month, every quarter, every year, whatever works for you. And when it comes to budgeting, there's something called the 50-30-20 rule. That's kind of basic but very, very powerful. And it just means that this model means that you are actually, if you apply that means that you divide your income into 3 pots and allocate it according to the following percentages. So 50% goes towards your needs, such as rent, food, and minimum payments on credit card and other debts. 30% goes to wants, such as trips or entertainment, and the remaining 20% towards savings, which can include debt repayment. So this is a model that was pioneered by U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren, and she came up with that. And this is something that she actually put in her book, All Your Worth: The Ultimate Lifetime Money Plan. And this is a great book. This is a seminal book. If you want to read it, I highly recommend that you read it. One thing I want to talk about before closing the budget, and we are actually spending some time on the budget in part because it is quintessential. This is the cornerstone of a financially independent life. So we want to spend some time here to make sure folks understand. Now, let me give you a few budgeting tips. Please do not confuse luxuries with necessities. So eating is a biological necessity. You have to eat. But eating at a 4-star restaurant is a luxury. So if you have to trim expenses, you want to pare back on the luxuries. You always want to keep an eye on the small stuff. So if you feel like passing time in coffee shops, if you feel like this add up to what you spend every month, then cut it. Right? Because the sum of all those $4 lattes might shock you. So drink water sometimes and work, and you can work at home and make your own coffee, for example. Restrain yourself. So just because you earn a raise doesn't mean you have to find new ways to spend money. So consider saving part of it, or contribute it more to a workplace 401k or IRA retirement plan. Use cash. If you want to reduce, if you want to trim down, if you want to trim expenses, use cash, because credit and debit cards are great conveniences, but also easy to overuse. So when you spend cash or write checks and enter them in a register, you'll more accurately see what you're doing with your money. And finally, using cash is not as an excuse actually to visit an ATM when you get the urge to spend. So use your budget to set limits on yourself and keep receipts to monitor your progress. What I'm trying to say here, folks, is that you need to get into the intellectual mindset, into the intellectual journey rather. You need to get into the mindset, the intellectual journey that would allow you to not only create the perfect budget, but stick to it. And while you're doing that, the more you stick to your budget, the more it'll be a lot easier for you. The more it will be easier for you to manage your own debt. So if you have a growing unpaid balance in your credit cards, part of your budget should aim at bringing the balance to zero, because paying revolving credit card is one of the least useful ways to spend your money. So if your debt is out of control, it might be good to consider debt consolidation programs that lower your interest rate and your monthly payment. You can also use to implement your budget. You can use, as I said earlier, you can use a budget calculator. We have a lot of those on the internet. You have apps. You have a budget spreadsheet that you can use. You can even talk to a credit counselor if you believe that the situation is out of control. You can't do anything about it, or it's just very complicated. Then guess what? You have a lot of tools and resources available out there for you. You're not the only one in this situation. Believe me, you're not the only one. Okay, so you can reach out to a credit counselor, and they can provide personalized recommendations on trimming expenses and boosting income in each major budget category, as well as help you with debt relief programs such as a debt management plan or debt consolidation that may be an important component in making your budget work. Let's now talk about, and folks, I've just spoken to you about the first thing that we believe the YouTube Financial Diet, our friends, our beautiful friends, they are just great. We love them. This is a great channel. They said recently there are 7 things not to do in 2020, and we're adding 5 more. And the first one that we added was postponing your financial education. You should not postpone it. You have to do it now. Now is the time. Number 2, sit on too much savings. The thing here is that you're probably thinking that you should be saving as much money as possible. No, you should be saving at least 10 to 30% of your money, but you should not be saving all of your money. Why? Because like a lot of things in life, saving and spending is about finding balance, right? if you are, especially depending on, especially if you are in your 20s and 30s, there's something called the opportunity cost of money. So if you put too much money in a savings account or even stashing away under the mattress, that means that inflation is growing and that money is not really keeping up with inflation. So you have less money. Let's say you invested, you actually not invested, you stashed $1,000 under your mattress 10 years ago. And today, if you take that money out, that $10,000 would have, the value would have decreased. You probably would have been able to buy only 970 or 950 worth of merchandise with that $1,000 because of inflation. So this is very important. So if you're simply saving too much and not really keep in touch or keeping up with the inflationary pressure, that's not good. So I personally recommend finding a sweet saving percentage and just sticking to it, no matter how much or little money you are currently making. So whether it is 10% or 20%, and you also have to think about investing any windfall you get, from bonuses to a new side hustle project or anything that comes your way. You have to start thinking about that. You have to start thinking about saving, actually investing your savings. And if you have a business or you have a side gig, you want to invest a little bit of money into that business also. My idea here, the recommendation I'm pursuing here, is that if you sit on too much savings, this could be bad in terms of the inflationary pressure that we have every year. But you need to strike a right balance. You need to stash your cash away into three things. You need to have 2 primary savings accounts, and everything else needs to be put into the stock market or into some kind of a retirement account, tax sheltered retirement account, aka IRAs or 401k. So so you need to have a primary savings account. So this is the kind of stuff you use for, I would say, little emergencies, what I call little emergencies. And in that account, you can put 6 months worth of monthly expenses. And then you need to have an emergency fund, a rainy day account. And in that account, you need to have 9 to 12 months worth of expenses. I know a lot of so-called experts recommend people have 6 months worth of expenses in the rainy day fund. I think 6 months is too little. Some people even tell you to have only 3 months. 3 months is nothing. I mean, it's nothing. Stuff happens. You get sick, or the kid is sick, or you can't work. That's it. 3 months is nothing. So you want to go for 6 months for your primary savings account and 12 months for your rainy day account. So you have 18 months worth of savings just there, and that way you can just relax, chill. Everything happened. Nothing will be nothing. You wouldn't panic because you are sitting on a reasonable amount of cash. I'll be right back. Right after this, don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. We are actually having a conversation today around a video that the Financial Diet, a YouTube channel, recently posted about the 7 things not to do in 2020, or in any year for that matter. And we love the video so much. As a matter of fact, we love that channel. We are also subscribers. We've watched tens of videos from that channel, and we love the video so much that we wanted to add our 2 cents, because we realized that list, in our view, was limited. So we added 5 more things not to do in 2020, or in any year for that matter. The third thing in our list is, the third thing that you need to avoid is to set lifestyle goals ahead of money goals. Right? You know, people who are always trying to shop online and trying to put fashion before finance. Think about that. Fashion before finance. Not good. So you're not working for money, busting your butt, going to work and trying to have some kind of financial independence, financial stability, only to put the cash back into the coffers of the fashion industry. No, don't put fashion ahead of finance. FOF, no good, not good. So what you want to do here is that in 2020 and in the future, not just this year, but more in the years ahead, you want to set money goals, not lifestyle goals. And lifestyle goals should be a subpart of money goals. So once you start setting, because the thing works in a very crazy way. If you start setting lifestyle goals ahead of money goals, you will be started making choices for how to live the life you want instead of just trying to make more money. Now, it's not very easy for someone who doesn't have the right financial goals to align his or her day-to-day promises, his or her day-to-day priorities to achieve the promise that he or she wants in her life or in his life. What I'm trying to say here is that if you want to see real change in your life, you want to see real transformative change, you cannot put the expenses that come with clothing, that comes with cosmetics, ahead of your financial stability. No, you have to switch things around. You have to first establish the money goal, the financial goal, and then as a subpart of it, as a subcategory of that money goal or those money goals, you can have a little subpart called lifestyle goals. Because in your money goal, you're going to have several goals. You're going to have goals regarding retirement. You're going to have goals regarding traveling. You're going to have goals regarding taxes, and you may have goals regarding lifestyle, if lifestyle is an important element for you. Another thing you should not do this year, or any year for that matter, is to put money first. This might sound like a little counterintuitive or a little contrarian or a little contrary to what I just said about having money goals. Now I'm telling you not to put money first. If you really analyze it, there is no contradiction. There's no dichotomy here. The dichotomy does not exist. Why? Before I was telling you to set a money goal. Now I'm telling you do not put money first. You can have a money goal. Money goal is like your GPS. That's the tool that helps you live financial free for a long period of time. But while doing that, because once you have the GPS, guess what? Money is not everything. You don't have to put money all the time. It's not worth sacrificing your health, family, friends, or other experiences for money. Don't spend too much time over the past or over the next 5 years or 10 years working overtime, working 80-hour weeks, trying to make and invest as much money as possible. What if you just what if you got sick? What if something happens to you? What if you are not in a position to enjoy the money you have worked so hard for? So ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching is kind of cool. I love the sound of it. I love it. Everybody does, right? But it should not be everything. If you want to be a successful individual, don't be a successful individual at the expense of some of your personal relationship and health. Like you become obese because you're not taking care of your health, you're not going to the gym, you're not eating properly, you are not having constructive, positive relationships. Those things, those adverse elements, guess what? They add up. So don't put money first. You want to invest in other parts of your life. You want to construct positive and solid relationships and experiences. You want to travel. You want to take the chance to travel. You want to take the chance to enjoy. To surround yourself with the right people. You want to learn. Learning is pretty good too, because learning is going to increase your cognitive skills, and that's something that's very important. If you want to get ahead in life, you need to constantly learn, constantly improve your skills, constantly surround yourself with the right people, surround yourself with the right mentors, with the right coaches, and that will make you what? At the end, it will make you a lot happier. Trust me, it will make you a lot healthier. It will help you live a wealthier life. Because if you're happy and healthy, guess what? The ka-ching, the money will come. As long as you have the proper money goals that I was just talking to you in the previous section. And the last thing that we believe that our favorite YouTube channel, The Financial Diet, has not mentioned in their list is day trade and try to beat the market. Do not do that. Don't do this in 2020 or in any other any other year. Don't try to day trade. I mean, day trade is cool. I shouldn't say day trade and day trade is cool, but trying to beat the market, that's not really interesting. It's not effective. I mean, day trading or even trading stocks in general is pretty hard, and the odds that you will constantly beat the market are nearly impossible. Certainly, a few people do it, and if you are one of them, then that's pretty good. Then you want to leave a comment below, and we need to hear from you because we might need your advice too. But most of the professionals cannot really do it. So you, as a retail investor, don't even try it. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your energy or resources. So you can own a few stocks. I'm talking about the Facebook of the world, the Tesla, the Amazon, the Google. That's pretty good. And you can buy them every now and then because those are solid companies that are growing. But the thing here is that being a day trader or being a swing trader, because a day trader, the time frame is more the day, whereas a swing trader, the time frame that he or she looks at is more the week or months. Either way, it's better to have an investment goal, to do your research in terms of fundamental analysis and technical analysis, and then implement a strategy that aligns your money, your resources with your objectives. Once you have that, just invest the money and go sleep. Don't try to follow the market every single day. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. People have done it before you. They have died. I'm serious here. So the bottom line here is that you want to make sure that you basically going back to what I said, you need to have financial education. You need to know your budget. You need to understand the 50-30-20 model that I was telling you about, the budget. So you have 50% that goes to your expenses, 30% go into your wants. You want to travel, you want to enjoy, you want to go to the movies. That's pretty cool. That 20% that I was talking about, that 20%, that's when you need to invest, not trade. I'm not talking here about day trading or trading. I'm talking about investing. It's different. So you want to put that money into an investment portfolio that pays you, that increases your net worth over time. And when it comes to investment, we have an entire catalog of videos around investment. So you might want to double check that if you want to learn more about investment. But at a minimum, all I want to say here is that you can invest in stocks, bonds, cash, or other or mutual funds, ETFs, electronically traded funds, or other categories of equities, or you can even invest in bonds. Bonds are like fixed income securities. You get interest every month and every quarter or every 6 months or every year, depending upon the bond issuer. And at the end of the period called maturity, you get your money back. You get your principal amount back. So that's basically what it is. So folks, just want to quickly recap. We want to thank our friends at the Financial Diets. Thank you so much for inspiring this video. We love your channel. We are subscribers. We are diehard fans, and your list is great. We wanted to add our 2 cents, and here are the 5 things that we believe you should not do in 2020 or in any year. Postpone your financial education. Number 1. Number 2. Sit on too much savings. Don't do that. Number 3. Set lifestyle goals instead of or ahead of money goals. Don't do that. Put money first. Do not do it. And day trade and try to beat the market. Don't do it. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.